Well, the battle of the radicals continues, and we head to round 8 of a 12-week calendar, and more to the point, welcome along to the JP Broadcasting Network. You'll hear two very familiar voices in the booth here this evening at the famed Hockenheimring. This 4.574 kilometre circuit has been around since the early 2000s and hosts what has been an interesting championship so far. So what is the battle of the radicals? Well, Radical themselves have prided themselves on this one make kind of series that we see across the globe, but we have both the previous generation SR8 and the current generation SR10 here to race at the very same time. Now, of course, this will be we've got our 10-minute qualifying session underway at the moment, but let's take you through what is happening overall and in the respective classes here on the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals. Simon Edwards at the moment is currently leading on 358 points, ahead of Bruno Vitorino with Sally Rahtinen rounding out the top three. Those are SR10 drivers. But then you look a little bit further down. Jamie Bird, who leads in SR8, is fourth on 326. Ahead of Colin Wynne, Stefan Mellis and Graham Matthew. Then eighth is Kim-Andre Bjorklund, Mr. Positivity when it comes to Radical Race Series, Phil Glover. And then good old Mike Bousson rounds out your top 10 overall. And there you see we've got 20 drivers that have already scored points so far. So Heinz Paun, Paul LeMay, Luke Crowley, George Gonzaga, Robert Woodward, David Rolliston, Federico Casassa, Paul Crabb, Lucas Nielsen and Ewan Stitchbury rounding out our running orders at the moment. But then we go to the separation side of things, as in the classes themselves. So Simon Edwards leads ahead of Bruno Vitorino and Sally Rahtinen, who rounds out the top three. It's a 58-point spread between third and fourth. So Kim-Andre Bjorklund has got to make some headway here at the two races we're going to have here at the Hockenheimring. Phil Glover, Heinz Brown, Luke Crowley, George Gonzaga, and Federico Casassa and Lucas Nielsen round out that. Jamie Bird leads Colin Wynne and Stefan Mellis by a combined 20 points over the top three. Then a further 27 back and forth is Graham Matthew, and Mike Bousson rounds out the top five in the SR8s. After this, we've got four more race evenings to go. Monza, Watkins Glen, Le Mans and Road Atlanta on December 4th to close out the season. But Jim Cunningham, welcome in. Good to be alongside you, my good friend. And what a race we've got in prospect here. Well, two races, actually, here at the Hockenheimring here tonight.
Yeah, good to be back with you, Alex. I always love calling a race with you. I have to say the time we spend in the broadcast booth before the race starts sometimes is even more entertaining than the broadcast itself. But no, I love this series, man. I love these guys. I'm gonna tell you right now, the the Radicals community as a whole in sim racing on iRacing is absolutely amazing. This community of people, it's a bunch of good guys, whether you race the 10s or the 8s, it doesn't matter. And they figured out a way here to join the two together. And there is a ton of work goes in by Simon Edwards, Paul LeMay, George Gonzaga, that to balance these cars out each week, they come out and put in a ton of laps to get these cars as equal as possible to make this series happen. And it is fantastic, man. It is, you can drive the car you're comfortable with. The SR8 is even a free car on iRacing. You can get involved and you don't have to buy a car to do this. Or you know, you can of course race the 10. They both have their advantages and disadvantages, but they are literally set up to be as equal as possible. And it's just fantastic, man. I love what they're doing here. I love the concept of taking these two cars and putting them together like this.
Well, let's look at what the format is going to be for tonight. It's an open qualifying session. We are now 6 minutes of the way through the 10-minute qualifying session. Qualifying will set the grid for race number 1, which here at the Hockenheimring will be 8 laps. And then after that race is completed, we invert the top 10. So whoever finishes 10th goes to the reverse top 10 race 2 pole position. And that will be over a total of 14 laps of racing. Now, more to the point, of course, there has only been one endurance race or whenever we get an endurance race, that is normally at the Nordschleife. But the Nordschleife not on the calendar this time, so it is flat out sprint racing, and that's what we love here at the Radicals. And I love the concept of it being the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals, where you've got both generations, the last two generations intermingled. And at the moment, Kim-Andre Bjorklund is the quickest around this 4.574 kilometer circuit with a 1:32.950. If you know in Radical Racing race series circles, a little bit of an intake of breath there from Jim. We'll get to that in a minute. Simon Edwards is the most decorated champion when it comes to Radical Race Series history. He is approaching, I would think, at one point, maybe double digits when it comes to RRS titles.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But then you have to look at how things are looking. I mean, Paul LeMay in the number 27. So for those wondering, what is the color key for? Well, grey is for the SR10s, yellow is for the SR8s. Now, the SR8s are a lighter vehicle than the SR10s, so they get clobbered with a penalty of weight, which means that they can equalize these cars. I think I remember for Mid-Ohio, the SR8s were hit with a whopping 75 kilo penalty, Jim.
Yes.
Which is probably around the same as we have new fastest lap here in qualifying. Simon Edwards, 1:32.898. Paul LeMay jumps up to P4, 1:33.216 as we're getting to the dying 2 minutes of this qualifying session. This track is really rubbering in nicely.
It is. By the way, I didn't have a chance to post this, so you haven't even seen this yet. I messaged Paul LeMay messages me each week now and gives me the basic, what they've done to the cars to equal them out, so we have a little insight into that. And this week, the SR8s were hit with a 70 kilogram penalty, so they're carrying an extra 70 kilograms. And just for those of you that may be new here, Sully Wrighton, I think back there in the background stepping out. The SR8s are going to be faster in the little twisty bits and the slower corners, and they're going to handle a little better. And the SR10s are going to be just a bit quicker down the straightaways. So that's, kind of the MO. In some tracks, obviously the 10 has an advantage over the 8 and vice versa at other tracks. So it's a neat little, thing. But it's really been just, again, so much fun to see this concept. I love this concept that they put together here. I really do.
Yes, indeed. We're coming to the final 30 seconds of qualifying as the number 27 of Two Brothers Racing's very own Paul LeMay comes out of the final corner here at Hockenheim. Will he improve on this lap? I don't think he did. We didn't know he did. So it's his best lap time. We'll put him on SR8's pole position, but Simon Edwards has called time. The last few seconds tick down as Paul LeMay makes his way through what's called the Einfahrt Parabolica. And then you've got the left that goes into the sweeper. We're seeing from the SR10s here, Jim, top speeds approaching, I think, from Simon Edwards was about 171 miles an hour. Paul LeMay running at, some drivers, I think, Mike Bousson on 156. So the top speed's going to be a bit of an issue. But let's take you through the grid for the very first time here for round 8 out of 12 at the Hockenheimring. And it's going to be Simon Edwards and Kim-Andre Bjorklund on the front row of the grid. Sully Rattinen and Paul LeMay, SR8 pole sitter, starts on row 2. Good showing by Herzog Motorsports Heinz Braun, local track for him, so should run pretty well in the number 86. He's got George Gonzaga in the insert name E-Racing Team number 113, rounding out the top 3 rows. Luke Crowley and Mike Bousson round out row 4, with Jamie Bird and Josh Reed rounding out the top 10. Colin Wynn and Steve Webb round out row number 6. So a nice little mixture of cars from SR10s to SR8s on the grid. Then Robert Woodward, Bruno Vittorino, Stefan Mellis, Phil Glover and Graham Matthew round out your 17-strong grid. So waiting for the last couple of drivers. Josh Reed yet to ready up onto the grid. There's minutes has elapsed before we go lights out for 8 laps. Standing start is protocol here in the Radical Race Series. And of course, with regards to the regulations, there are times when some drivers will go past those famed incident points as we are waiting patiently for Josh Reed to ready up on the grid. So, drivers are on their marks. Here come the 5 red lights at the famed Hockenheimring in the Baden-Württemberg region of southern Germany. 5 red lights are on. Good start by Simon Edwards. Gets the launch away from Kim-Andre Bjorklund. As now it's 3 wide towards the back of the field into turn 1 for the first time. They've got to be very, very measured on the exit of it. And Jamie Bird straight away gets through on Luke Crowley, but Kim-Andre Bjorklund has gone with Simon Edwards into turn 2 at the Einfahrt Parabolica. Oh, Bjorklund got it all crossed up. Rattanen looking to get through on him. So the Finn might try and get a way through, but Paul LeMay being closed in on by Heinz Braun in the SR10, just behind him in the number 86. And now Braun to the outside of the Parabolica in towards the hairpin, the Spitzkehre here at this point of the circuit. Paul LeMay to the outside of Heinz Braun, but Braun's going to get the traction and will possibly get through. Jamie Bird's got through on Luke Crowley again. Looks like Josh Reed has got through on Bruno Vitorino. They are Vitorino as we go into the Mercedes AMG section. Simon Edwards got the jump on everybody, but Bjorklund has kept him honest so far on this opening lap out of 8.
He did. Paul LeMay just got by Heinz Braun as well. Yeah, off to a good start here. Pretty clean. I don't want to jinx it, but it's so far so good.
Yeah, thanks to a comment in chat from DAZNST. Steve Webb is driving the SR8, not the SR10. So thank you very much for that. Well, you've just jinxed him because he's just got a black flag, I think, for a start impeachment, as they all come out of the final corner, hammer and tongs. So, as we like to say, Steve Webb in the pit lane for the trundle of shame. The long, long run down that long pit lane there as Paul LeMay really putting the elbows out. Heinz Braun to the outside of Paul LeMay, and Paul LeMay still keeping the back end of that SR8 wider than articulated lorry on the M25, going through traffic as we run on board with the two brothers racing number 27. And look at the closing speed there, folks, as Heinz Braun to the inside through the Parabolica. George Gonzaga is going to try and make a move through here as well, and they both do get the job done, or do they? Gonzaga gets the launch of traction out of the Spitzkehre. But Paul LeMay gives him a little bit of a hip check going into the right-hander. Gonzaga to the grass, LeMay to the outside. We've always known that Paul LeMay's a rapid individual, and as you said, the SR8s very much showing their real handling prowess. Obviously a lighter car, but with the 70 kilo side of things, as Mike Bousson just gets overtaken by Jamie Bird, the SR8 championship leader. George Gonzaga gets a track limit slowdown penalty, which he's going to have to serve very, very shortly. Otherwise, if he doesn't, by a certain period of time, he will get a black flag. Oh, big moment. Luke Crowley, Stefan Mellis. I think it's just been involved, Jim.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, there's my famous slow motion replays that I always start with a slow-mo, apparently. Oh,
this is not
Luke, good. This is not going to be good right here. There he goes.
Oh,
you can see it come around on him.
Yeah.
They're all sympathy spinning with him. Holy cow, let's get a different look at that real quick.
Yeah, that was very interesting. So it's on the run through into Zaxkurve. If anyone might remember when Sebastian Vettel was leading the German Grand Prix on slick tyres in wet conditions, back they go. Oh, they clashed, actually. Stefan Mellis, I think, went into the back of Robert Woodward, and then they both sympathy spinned as a direct correlation whilst hitting the loud pedal coming through that corner. So, yeah, sympathy spinning. I've never seen it three like that here at the Hockenheimring before.
Sort of like watching a synchronized swimming event, you know.
I'm waiting for Swan Lake, you know. Oh no, the Nutcracker. That's the Nutcracker. Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's like
it reminded me of History of the World. Do you remember History of the World Part 1, the movie?
Oh, God, yeah, I remember that one.
Never mind. Let's don't go down that road.
Yeah, we could be here forever, folks. We could be. But we've got a really, really good battle here. This is the number 12 car. That's Josh Reed battling away with Brazil's Bruno Vitorino going into Zaxkurve. Now, this is a battle for position, and more importantly, they are running well, you can see that with the SR10s, a slightly different headlight layout as we ride on board. I like this with the customization, with the race suits and the helmets and everything like that.
I love that.
It's just awesome.
I love that about iRacing. You completely can design what your car looks like, your suit, your helmet. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of silly, and probably some people think that, but I don't know. I love it. I love the immersion of all of that myself.
Well, it just goes to show that iRacing still one of the pinnacles, one of the pillars of sim racing to this very day. But we concentrate back on the race lead. We're on lap 4 out of 8, and Kim Andre Bjorklund going into the Schwitzkau, the hairpin here at turn 4. Now accelerates out of the corner. Solid Artinen is closing in on them and has just put in the fastest lap of the race, 1:32.965. Josh Reed has had a little wobble off the circuit, but has kept position just ahead of Phil Glover. Phil has made up 4 places, so is Graham Matthew, but Bruno Vitorino is the highest climber so far in this race. The Brazilian started P14, now runs 9th overall. But the top 3 at the moment, it is Edwards, who runs a little bit wide on the approach into Sachs Curve, kicks up the gravel right towards the front of the SR10 of Kim Andre Bjorklund. Sali Ratanen would have definitely seen that flying in his general direction, would have wanted to keep away from that as much as possible. Paul LeMay leads in SR8, head of championship leader Jamie Bird and Mike Bousson rounding out the top 3. They round out the top 8 overall, with George Gonzaga running in 6th. And who is still trying to get his way past Paul LeMay, as you see how wide the SR10s and the SR8s. Well, a little bit tighter there from Paul LeMay going through the first corner. But you can see how wide they do run. Josh Reed has just ended up in the pit lane. So not too sure what that might have been for, as George Gonzaga is closing in on Paul LeMay here at the Parabolica. 2 wheels on the grass from the man from Portugal, and he gets through.
He does. That was a nice pass right there. So this is what happened to Josh Reed. Apparently he had a little mistake here.
Oh, don't tell me this is going to be going through to the hairpin, into the hairpin.
He's going to overshoot it, I think. Oh, somebody must hit him. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Who was that hit him? Was that Phil Glover?
No, Colin Wynn possibly in the number 4 car. No, it was. Yeah, well, it was, because there's Phil Glover. He's got the Castrol livery. He's stuck with that for years. I
love that livery.
Has Phil. So, yeah, and then he's Phil's got Matthew closing in on him. But meantime, at the front, Simon Edwards looking for another victory this season. Of course, there's multiple different race winners, and one of the good things.
We got a surprise here, folks. Let me see.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't know that it's a bad one unless you happen to be a Simon Edwards fan. But while we were looking at that incident, look at this. Boy, Simon. That's kind of strange the way Simon handled that turn there. It's almost like he wanted to let Bjorklund go, and he wanted to be behind him for some reason. Does he have a plan here?
Well, the amounts of times I've spoken to Simon over the years in post-race interviews, and he said, well, you know, there's not that many tricks I can play these days. And I'm like saying, Simon, there's always something some trick that you can play.
Especially
I mean, you've probably got... Yeah. I mean, the amount of experience that man has in Radical here on iRacing is absolutely unquantifiable. But more to the point, I mean, yeah, I think he kind of let that happen. Besides, we've still got another 8 races, including the 4 rounds after this here, Jim. So maybe he's playing the points percentage game. And also, this will give him the advantage over Bjorklund going into race 2 afterwards when we go around here at Hockenheim for 14 laps.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that. I don't think he's thinking that far ahead. I think he's thinking he wanted to be behind him for now. Either he knew that Bjorklund was faster than him and they were going to end up having an incident because of that, or he wanted to be behind him to make a move as we get down to the end of the race here. This for some reason the software is acting weird. There we go. All right, I got it back now. We're good.
So, yeah, we're on the penultimate lap of the race, lap 7 out of 8, and Kim-Andre Bjorklund has nearly a 6/10 of a second advantage over Simon Edwards Saliraten, and is being closed in on. Heinz Braun is making some moves. The man from Germany in the 86 is closing it on the Flying Finn in 3rd position, and Braun goes a little bit wider to the away from the apex, heading through the parabolica, which is sometimes an unconventional line, but you can carry a little bit more speed, maybe the best part of 3 to 5 kilometers an hour. And Braun is going to get that slipstream here into the sweeping right, as they will head through into the main complex here at the Hockenheimring.
And notice Simon's closed right up here. He's in a good spot as well.
I mean, if anyone might remember the DCM Hockenheim finale from this past year, the first weekend of October, the complex that we just went through was where Ayachan Guven made that robust overtake on Marco Wittmann to become a DTM champion for Olaf Mantai's Porsche squad for Team Mantai. So it's a great place where if you have got the room to manoeuvre, get through. But white flag lap is now about to get going as Kim-Andre Bjorklund powers out of the final corner. Last lap underway, so 4.574 kilometers left to run through at turn 1. And at breakneck speed, Kim-Andre Bjorklund is now leading by over 7/10 of a second. And at the moment, well, the thing will be that Bjorklund will start P10. At the moment, Colin Wynne is on course for that reverse top 10 pole position for the feature race coming up. And there is Luke Crowley trying to close in on Robert Woodward and Phil Glover. This is the battle for P11. Woodward peels to the inside of Glover, who sweeps around the outside. And there you can see the handling characteristics of the SR8. It's a little bit more cooperative in the corners. Steve Webb has ended up down pit lane. But we are 60% of the way through the lap. Saliraten now being hounded. Heinz Braun to the ins. Exactly what I thought he would. Rattinen has got the back end of it, and George Gonzaga has gone through. Heinz Braun with an Ayachan Guven style manoeuvre on Saliraten to get the job done and hold on to P3. That was brave, and I thought there might be a little bit of contact, but I didn't expect Rattinen to be under the short end of the stick, and now he's caught by SR8 race leader and championship leader Jamie Bird, who has got through on Paul LeMay. So the battle for the lead is going to be over now, because Kim-Andre Bjorklund takes the checkered flag, wins race 1. Edwards finishes 9.5 tenths behind. Heinz Braun with an audacious, robust move into the Mercedes-AMG arena on Saliraten, who I'm sure will not be a very, very happy.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I kind of got thoughts about that one. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I mean, the first attempt was okay, but then when he couldn't get it done, he just kind of popped him right in the side and knocked him off the track. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. Let's see real quick here. We're going to have a second anyway.
I was going to say, if you can pull a replay from a different angle, that would be maybe from behind Heinz Braun on that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. It's not even showing me. Let's see here. Let's try it.
Yep. Yeah, so.
Oh, that would be here. Let me wrong way.
So let's just have a look. So they come out of Spitzkehre. So Braun has got a real good launch on the traction.
View. Let's see this.
Oh, perfect. Well played, Mr. Cunningham. And there you see the gap opens.
He's okay Heinz there.
Yeah. A little bit of net code.
He only actually hit him once. Yeah, the second one he didn't hit him. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's, it's a bit dodgy, but I'd have stuck my car in there. So, I'm not going to say. So,
I think anyone with their right mind would have done so anyway, Jim. But let's. We know that we've got a couple of minutes warm up.
Oh, we do. Okay,
let's do the results for race 1, my friend.
Yeah, let's see here. Good race though, man. You know what? Sometimes the Hockenheimring doesn't lend itself to the best passing and stuff, but I have to say that was a really good race.
Yep, so here are your provisional results. Of course, some protests do get put in after the evening's been completed. We've known that from previous. Kim Andre Bjorklund wins race 1 here at round 8 for Sim Racing Norway, ahead of Simon Edwards. Heinz Brown with an audacious but bodacious move up the inside into the Mercedes-AMG arena on the last lap, secures P3. George Gonzaga 4th, ahead of Sally Rahtinen. Jamie Bird takes the win in SR8, ahead of the man who led the majority of the race anyway, Paul LeMay. Mike Busson rounds out the top 3 in SR8s, rounding out your top 8, ahead of Bruno Vitorino and Colin Wynn, rounding out the top 10. Colin Wynn will start from the reverse top 10 pole position for race 2 coming up very shortly. Robert Woodward, Luke Crowley, Phil Glover, Stefan Mellis, Graham Matthew, Josh Reed and Steve Webb. Now, for those that do know of Stefan Mellis, he does actually work as a DJ. So he got the nickname from me a couple of years ago, Superstar DJ, because he never had time to practice. He was always doing his concerts here, there, and everywhere.
He still doesn't practice.
That sounds about right. That's why. Stefan, you're slipping. You're slipping, my friend.
Yeah. So since you were talking about Stefan Mellis, I want to bring up Steve Webb, who, by the way, he's on top of the little scoring tower now. But anyway, so Steve Webb is, let me see if he's not on track. So anyway, so Steve Webb is, he drives an orange car, and there's actually several of them they call themselves the Orange Army, and they are all marshals out on the, in Europe and stuff. And I just, wanted to talk about the fact that, if you have any interest, look up the Orange Army and maybe consider getting yourself trained and getting out there to be a marshal. It helps the sport, and you get a great bird's eye view of what's going on for sure.
Especially when you go with the British, the BMMC here in the United Kingdom. So if you want to become a member of the Men and Women in Orange, go over to there. I think it's bmmc.co.uk. So here is your starting grid for race 2, 14 laps of Hockenheim, and it will be the number 4 of Moving Matters is Colin Wynn that starts on pole position. He'll be joined by the number 15 of Bruno Vitorino alongside on the front row. Mike Busson and Paul LeMay on row 2. Jamie Bird and Sally Rahtinen rounding out row 3, with George Gonzaga and Heinz Brown rounding out row 4. Simon Edwards and Kim Andre Bjorklund ran out your top 10. Robert Woodward and Luke Crowley complete the top 12. Ahead of Phil Glover, Stefan Mellis, Graham Matthew. Josh Reed and Steve Webb have yet to ready up on the grid, and they will start in 16th and 17th position. Steve Webb has jumped onto the grid. Looks like Josh Reed is going to start from the pit lane as the 5 red lights start to ignite again. Ahead of 14 laps here at the Hockenheimring for race number 2, round 8. Lights are out. Barney waving the green flag as always, and everyone gets, it's 3 wide into turn number 1. Who's going to get the jump on who? It's Bruno Vitorino that leads the way. Paul LeMay up into P2, but a big moment, and someone's off in the barriers. Was that Mike Busson?
Yeah, Busson.
And it's 3 wide going to the Einfahrt Parabolica. Paul LeMay into P2 now. Colin Wynn to the outside of Jamie Bird. And Paul LeMay manages to hang on. Meantime, Heinz Brown and Sally Rahtinen, ding, seconds out round 2 between the Finn and the German. As Colin Wynn trying to close in on Jamie Bird, but Rahtinen to the outside. It's going to make it 3 wide into the Spitzkehrer if they're not very careful here. Rahtinen's going to do a dive bomb to the inside and nearly already touches the back of Jamie Bird. Right in front of the field. So that is a real shame there for Jamie Bird. And it also compromised Colin Wynn at the same time.
Colin Wynn, yeah. That was I called him Paul Crab because of that livery. It caught me very similar looking liveries at speed.
Well, at the moment, things are changing up and down the order. Vitorino now has a 1.4 second lead over Paul LeMay.
He's in trouble. Wynn's car's tore up.
That front end has seen better days. As Steve Webb has got a black flag. And Busson
has a start issue, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, that probably would have been a jump start or some kind of start line infraction. Mike Busson was called time on the race early, so the damage was significant to the point where it wrote off the number 666. So, but in the meantime, Vitorino leads after lap 1 by 1.3 seconds. Paul LeMay in the SR8, number 27 for Two Brothers Racing, trying to chase him down. We're on board with George Gonzaga in P6, trying to close in on Sim Racing Norway's Kim-Andre Bjorklund, who's got Sally Reitinen in front of him. So that's the battle for P4. Simon Edwards at the moment is about 3/10 behind Gonzaga, and there he is in shot. Wonderful backwards facing camera that we got just on the main airbox covering the engine on the SR10s. As into turn 4 we go. Simon Edwards stuck his nose up inside there. Right behind him he's got Luke Crowley breathing down the back of his exhaust pipes at the moment, and the rear wing to boot. But Reitinen trying to go around the outside of Bjorklund. That was very brave from the Finn. Edwards, however, is going to dive to the inside of Gonzaga. Nearly makes contact with the number 113 from Portugal, and that nearly opened the door for Luke Crowley to put a surprise on the number 52 as they head in towards Sachs Curve here on lap number 2 out of 14.
I thought we were about to see a replay of that incident from the first race right there, but Simon managed to get his car rotated and not get into the side of Gonzaga there.
Yeah, very much the case there, Jim, and it's always about knowing where your limits are, and even Simon Edwards has limits. But you're seeing that a couple of the drivers, I think there was Reitinen that was went a little bit wide coming out of the final corner. Paul LeMay leads in SR8, currently P2, but the gap is expanding. Bruno Vitorino is absolutely flying away into the distance, but if he takes too much out of those tyres on that Radical SR10 too early, he might be caught as the race progresses. And with these SR10s as well, Jim, with more power, more, there's going to be that invariable thing of degradation happening. When you're going faster down the parabolic at about over 160 miles an hour, you're going to be harder on the brakes as Heinz Braun gets through on Paul LeMay. So that is a change for position overall, but more to the point, that now puts 5 cars in the form of Bjorklund, Reitinen, Gonzaga, Edwards and Crowley in between LeMay and Robert Woodward. Stefan Mellis, Mr. Superstar DJ from Belgium, rounds out the top 3 in SR8, but also rounds out the overall top 10.
Is it wrong? Every time you say that now, I hear some house music in the background.
I'm just waiting for some Belgian rave music to start playing in the background of Stefan Mellis' rig.
Every time you say that now, I hear that some of that house or trance music in my head.
Yeah. Well, it's getting a bit feisty between Bjorklund and Reitinen. I did see that Paul LeMay, on the approach into Sachs cover, he actually clipped the wall with the left rear corner. So there's a little bit of dust bit of concrete dust off of the barrier catching up. So it might have just been a glancing blow, but he's catching. Look how fast he's catching. Heinz Braun. Kim-Andre Bjorklund sets the new Heinz Braun sets the new fastest lap of the race, 1:33.292. As we have got a car coming back onto the circuit, which I would imagine is probably Steve Webb, who's been in the pits for over nearly 60 seconds.
Well, yeah, yes. Graham Matthew just recently had an incident. I thought it could have possibly been him. Let's see what happened real quick. Graham, we'll take a quick look at this.
Well, that's going to be Webb, who's that's a blink there.
Yeah, no, that's something's going on there. That was a blinky. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. Yeah, that was a bad blink, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, iRacing will get you for that these days. Let's see.
Oh, definitely. But now who is that? Heinz Braun has just dropped it. Oh, he was running ahead of Paul LeMay, and the German who came through to finish P3. Oh, that was nearly a moment there over the sausage curbs. Goes Simon Edwards, and Luke Crowley gets past him round the outside by teeing it up rather nicely. Anticipated what Edwards was going to do. Now Gonzaga is between a bit of a rock and a hard place because he's got 2 fast-charging SR10 drivers behind him. They're now going to Sachs cover. Very, very adverse left-hand down camber. It's one of the. I've actually walked the track at Hockenheim in person, and that camber is no joke. It is really, really deceptive. So you've got to try and maximise your entry and exit speed on that corner to get the maximum out of it. So
let's go take a look at what happened to Heinz here.
Okay, so Paul LeMay swings wide to the end of the parabolic, and now into the hairpin at the Spitzkehrer. Too much on the loud pedal, and he spun himself around coming out of the corner. So Heinz Braun has dropped all the way down to 14th overall. But Kim-Andre Bjorklund is closing in on Paul LeMay. Now, we're not even at half distance here, and as I say that, Bjorklund now makes the move down through the outside of the Parabolica. This could be 3 wide. Simon Edwards to the outside of both Crowley and Gonzaga. Can he get the crisscross here? That's going to be quite important. That's a good attempt there from Simon, but I don't think it was enough for him to facilitate the traction coming out of that corner, Jim. So it still keeps him behind Gonzaga and Crowley for the meantime.
I feel like there he was. Oh no, they've come together.
Oh, that was Edwards straight into the back of Crowley, who's dropped like a stone through no fault of his own. That was.
Well, let's see. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, I think Simon might have missed his braking point a little bit there. It might have just caught him out unawares. So into the braking zone they go. Oh yeah, bang, straight away. And then there's a secondary touch.
I mean, the thing is, we all know Simon. If he was going to move you, he wouldn't have done it straight on like that. That was clearly a situation where he either didn't anticipate Luke braking there or at that moment or that hard, or he missed his brake marker, because he obviously is not going to. If he's going to move you out of the way, he's not going to do it straight on like that. So. Yeah, that's unfortunate for Luke for sure, and probably has given Simon a little front end damage. Although these radicals they seem to survive okay with the front ends even off the cars at times, So I don't. Maybe that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, Paul LeMay keeping out of the way. I think of the 2 drivers he's got around him. Kim-Andre Bjorklund now a second up the road. Paul LeMay still leading. He's on for a double. Here in the SR8 division. So, Reitinen through on the inside. LeMay goes right.
That's
you want
nice.
to throw it up the inside of me? I'll return the favour. Thank you very much.
Well, this is right here where the SR8s, shine. That was a big twitch. Big twitch.
That was a bit of a clean-up on aisle 3 there. Code Brown for the number 27. But he managed to pick himself back up very, very quickly indeed, did Paul LeMay. And of course, for those that know the history with not just him, but also his brother Michael, Paul has, on certain tracks, struggled because of a previous arm issue. And still, I think maybe the fact that he's gone back to the good old SR8s, that it's favoured his driving style and made it a bit easier for him. That's why you see Paul LeMay at, I would probably say, a pretty good point in time. As now we see there's Jamie Bird trying to close on in of our good friend Mr. Phil Glover, who's trying to dive to the inside of, I think that was Josh Reed in the number 12 car, which it is. So, yeah, things are getting a little bit closer. Sally Reitinen gets through on Paul LeMay for P3 overall. Simon Edwards now gets through on Mr. Woodward for P6 and now moves to about 3.8 seconds behind George Gonzaga. But what you have to look at, folks, is with the equalisation of the SR8s versus the SR10s, is that Paul LeMay is able to battle tooth and nail with Sally Reitinen and is gunning for P3 once again. Through the twisty stuff they go. LeMay hounding the Finn in the number 7 car. They're going to go into this right-hand sweeper here. And then it's on the run down to what will be Sachs Curver. So you'll expect that the handling of the SR8 and Paul LeMay to the outside can't quite get the job done, but maybe through the next complex, the next couple of corners, he will get the run coming out of that final turn, but the acceleration of the SR10s is just too mighty for the SR8s to handle at this circuit.
Yeah, he I think he kind of got pinched off there when he was trying to start his move through the curvier, slower section of the track there. I think he had to get on the brakes, and it kind of cost him his run through there potentially a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not going to stop him from trying.
Right there. Yeah, another big twitch.
That was going through turn 2 at Einfahrt Parabolica. So it's the Parabolica entrance for those that want to learn a bit of German along the way. And that takes up turns 2 and 3. So, but yeah, I mean, Paul LeMay at this stage, looking at the previous lap times, Paul LeMay did a 1:34.4. Sally Reitinen did a 1:33.567. So the pace is not that far off. However, George Gonzaga has been taking about the same amount of time that is between Reitinen and LeMay to catch up to the number 27. So at the minute, Paul LeMay, when you consider what the gap is between him and Robert Woodward, that gap is about 6.5 seconds. All moment there for Phil Glover, and that allowed Luke Crowley to get through. Gonzaga now gets through on LeMay. So whether and Paul's had an off track. Paul's gone off the circuit, and that's going to allow Robert Woodward to dive up the inside of the Sachs curve to now take the SR8 class lead here, Jim. So big drama for the 27.
Let's see what happened there while we were watching the battle in the back. Let's see what happened to.
Oh, that was a big old Code Brown. Big old Code Brown there.
I'll tell you what, man, his car has been super loose. We've seen the rear end twitch on him 5 or 6 times, and he's been able to catch it. And there he didn't catch it, I wonder if he's kind of maybe cooked his tires early on the back or something, because with it sliding around like that, that's only going to make him worse for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the air temperature is 18.7 degrees Celsius, track temperature 19.4, so we're running at sort of like early morning on Sunday for race day. Well, it's actually showing more like 3 p.m. But you can see that, yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be the fact that the tyres have been overcooked, or his armour's come into play, and he's having to...
To be fair, when he messaged me today, he said he wasn't feeling well. I just assumed when he said that maybe he was, just ill, like cold, whatever, But it could very well be that his arm is bothering him. So that's possible.
Yeah. So, and Stefan Mellis has just been passed by Josh Reed for 8th overall, and Jamie Bird. Josh Reed has dropped it, gone down to 11th.
Yep. Did he have a moment, or was that another blink? I think it might have been a blink again.
It could have been. Could have been a blink incorporating some big drama for him. But meantime, lap 10 of 14 underway, and Bruno Vitorino has been reeled in hook, line and sinker by Kim Andre Bjorklund, who took a half second out of him on that previous lap.
Did. He's flying
and the Dane
right now, man.
He is. The Dane is looking for double delight here at Hockenheim in terms of race wins.
What a night he's having.
And there we go, round the outside. He will have the better line possibly for the braking going into Spitzkehrer. And it is going to be Bjorklund. Can he get the move completed? They head into the braking zone.
Nice.
And yes, that's a nice little move there by the man from Denmark. Gets through the Brazilian. And now Vitorino might be able to use Bjorklund as a little bit of a yardstick, so to measure his braking points, rotation of the car through the corners. But the way that Kim Andre Bjorklund is driving the wheels of that SR10 at the moment here, Jim, you would imagine that he is going to start pulling a gap, and it's since he passed him, it's up to nearly half a second.
Yeah, this has been. Hello, how you doing? A little hip check there, Josh Reed.
Stefan Mellis.
Josh Reed tossed a little hip check in Mellis there. That was.
Yeah, Mellis tried to throw one back at him with a hip check, trying to go around the outside.
Apparently, they've been battling here for a little bit.
That was a big old hip check from Reed at that point.
Well, I believe that they've been going at it for a lap or so now. I think that's probably not the first contact. That's probably more of a little bit of, hey, get off me, What's kind of a situation.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, you already got into me once, back off or something like that, Oh, man. Heinz Braun there. He's using all... and what's funny is we haven't seen a ton of off-tracks, but this track is notorious for off-tracks, but yet we really have not seen a bunch of slowdowns given out tonight, which is pretty typical for here. You usually see quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And unfortunately, with that moment that he had early on in the race when he was running P3, too much acceleration, too much over rotation coming through the hairpin at turn 4 meant that the man from Herzog Motorsport would spit it around in front of everybody and nearly get caught up in the calamity that followed. But still, he's done a really, really good comeback at the moment. He's chasing down at the moment I think, well, the nearest
that's
person to, well, that's Phil Glover.
But yeah, that's not. I think he's just got by Glover there.
Yeah, he's ahead at the moment. So we go back trackside, and there is Josh Reed rounding out your top 10. But in the meantime, Paul LeMay has gotten back through on Robert Woodward for the SR8 class lead. Jamie Bird is a further 2.5 seconds behind LeMay at the moment as things stand. So we now head on to,
real quick.
We're now on lap 12, but what's happened? So this is a repeat. So Woodward's made a bit of a bit of a hot mess of that one, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, he saved it. If he'd have stuck on it there, it would have spun on him. He just, kind of ran it a little wide and gave up the position to Paul, but he was able to recover, and he didn't really lose too much there. If he'd have tried to hold on to it, I think he'd have wrecked it right there and probably lost several spots.
Yeah, definitely. It could have been a lot worse than what it actually ended up being at the end of it all. So, but Kim-Andre Bjorklund on the last lap, Jim, set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 32.852, and he has now clawed a 1.4 second lead over Brazil's Bruno Vitorino. Sauli Reitinen still holding on to that P3. He's about 1.8 seconds ahead of George Gonzaga. Simon Edwards now has moved up to 5th place. Paul LeMay still leads, but Woodward is closing it on him for that SR8 class lead as Bjorklund makes his way through, kicking up the kitty litter as he does so into Saxkurve before heading through the final bit of the twisty stuff. And then we will be on lap 13 out of 14, so 2 to go. And Bjorklund looking for double Danish delight here in Germany.
I like that, double Danish delight.
Triple D.
He is.
Fieri.
You went right there. I was about to, as soon as you said it, that's the first thing that popped into my head. What a night he's having, man. I tell you what, I am so impressed with Bjorklund. I call another series, Porsche Cup series that he races in, and man, he's super talented. He's those Porsche Cup cars are notorious to be some of the hardest cars on iRacing to drive. And he is really coming into his own there and here as well. He joined, as we started seeing him this season, he's really, really come along in both those series. Very impressed with him. Team Norway, Sim Racing Norway. What a driver. Yeah, he's fast.
Excuse me. Yeah, I remember first, I think, what was it? He competed when JPB used to have a GT4 series, and he took part in that, and he was absolutely rapid. I think he at one point decided on the Aston Martin, then switched to the Porsche, and the man was an absolute missile, to be honest with you. Meantime, the battle for the race lead in the SR8 class is heating up as Bjorklund makes his way through into what will be Saxkurve for the penultimate time. Paul LeMay leading Woodward, and he has another bit of a wobble there. That's not what the number 27 from Two Brothers Racing wants. That car is looser than a NASCAR around the Daytona 500 at the moment. But the main thing is Paul LeMay is doing just about enough to keep that car on the black stuff and keep it pointing the right way around the circuit. Meantime, Jamie Bird closing in on Robert Woodward in the dying stages. White flag lap is out. So we're on to the last lap of this 14-lap feature race encounter here at the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals of this season, round number 8. And Bird is closing. LeMay has opened up a gap to 1.1 seconds, but one wrong move from the 27 could mean it might be all asunder and all water under the bridge, so to speak. Josh Reed closing in on Luke Crowley in the dying moments as Bird into the Einfahrt Parabolica for the final time. Really might get the drag on Woodward coming out of that corner. Meantime, our leader, Bjorklund, going into the Mercedes-AMG Arena section for the 14th and final time, now has a 2.4 second advantage. This man from Sim Racing Norway in the 88 now on cruise control towards the checkered.
He really is, and what an amazing, like I said, what an amazing evening he's had. He found, he may be from Norway, but it looks like he's got a second home here in Germany because he is absolutely flying around this place.
That means I need to retract this double Norwegian delight, not Danish delight. I'm getting myself confused with the national flags at the moment. But he is about to head through the final few corners. And Kim-Andre Bjorklund.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Maybe nobody did. I know, but he comes out of the final corner for the Norwegian. Kim-Andre Bjorklund does the double in the SR10s here at Hockenheim. Bruno Vittorino will pick up P2, and it is going to be Sari Reitinen from Finland that rounds out your top three. Gonzaga fourth, Edwards fifth, but it's going to come down to the final few corners. Paula May out of the final corner for the win in SR8s, but here goes Jamie Bird to the outside. It's going to be a drag race to the line, and Bird gets in by 19 thousandths.
Did he?
I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen.
Oh, man.
And Jamie Bird pips.
All right.
But Woodward by 19 thousandths. What a great finish.
Real quick, let's see. Let's try to find the right angle. Let's do the chopper rule. Yep. That was a little late now. Wow. Yep, he got him. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's good fun there. You know, it doesn't matter where you're at. That could have been for 20th place.
It's like at the end of all that said done. We did have finished in P9.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll bring up the results here from the last race. Oh man, that was so exciting. All right, let's see here. In our feature race results, in race 2, Kim-Andre Bjorklund, Sim Racing Norway takes the win. Double dips tonight. Incredible. What a great race night for him. Bruno Vittorino, we're really starting to see some speed out of him every week now. He is up at the front contending for wins. Third place tonight, Sari Reitinen. Another quality run from Sali. George Gonzaga fourth. Simon Edwards rounding out your top 5. You got Paul LeMay bringing it home in 6th, and the leader for the SR8s, followed by Jamie Bird and Robert Woodward, a little trio there of SR8s together. Then you got Luke Crowley, who had that incident early but recovered pretty well to finish 9th overall, and Josh Reed bringing it home and rounding out your top 10. And of course, as soon as I read his name, Stefan Mellis, now I think trance music, and so now I'm hearing that every time I bring up his name. Heinz Braun in 12th, Phil Glover in 13th, Graham Matthew, Colin Wynn, Steve Webb, and of course Mike Buson retired right there after that incident on lap 1. What a fantastic race we had there. I don't know if we've got.
You should have me back now.
We do indeed have you back, man.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened.
Sounded internet-ish the way it went out. Sounded like the internet might have blinked on you or something.
Well, it rarely happens, but it's not the first time. It certainly won't be the last. But yeah, 2 fantastic races to conclude what has been a great season so far for the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals. I do see that we've got some people that we need to have a chat for. You know what? Let's start with SR8. Let's bring in the man from Two Brothers Racing. Let's bring in Paul LeMay first of all.
Yeah, we got to talk to him about that car handling tonight.
Yeah, that was definitely doing the 2-step here tonight. So let me bring him in. Mr. LeMay, good evening. How are you? Long time no speak.
Hello, Alex. How are you, mate? All right? I'm good, thanks.
Good. I'm good. Well, firstly, well done on the double. Now, Jim informs me that you and him had a little conversation earlier, and that you haven't been feeling. You've been not feeling 100%.
Just a cold.
Just a cold. So and how's the arm, by the way? Because it's been a long time since I've done any commentary on you.
Well, it's killed it in these 2 races because I had to drive absolutely flat out just to try and keep with the 10s. So I was taking risks. And by about lap 5, I think in race 2, I was done. So that was that. But I'm all right.
So that's why the car in the last few laps was getting a little bit loosey goosey at the rear. Then
I cooked the rears basically, just trying to push too hard, and I didn't. There was no area really where the SR8 had an advantage, not even on the brakes. So in race 1, I ran low downforce. Race 2, trying to find some sort of speed through the twisty section. I put a barn door on the back of the car, and that helped a little bit. It allowed me to hang on for a bit, but as I say, I was just overdriving in the end.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's probably your fault. You were a little ill this week. You didn't participate. Didn't participate in the balance of these cars, and you let 2 SR10 guys get out there and balance these cars, and look what happened to you.
I'm not blaming. I won't blame them. I won't be too hard on them.
Well, I mean, I think it may have been me that made the reference to you making that SR8 wider than the back end of an articulated lorry on the M25. But I mean, still, when we know you're on it, you are absolutely rapid, and it's nice to. I mean, this is the first time I've commentated on you guys for quite a time now, and it's nice to have this like equal. I'm not going to use the term that's used in GT3 racing, BOP, but this equalization between the cars, and it really adds for some really, really conducive racing where we saw you as high as P2, P3 overall. It's nice that where we see, like, I mean, I still remember when a certain Mr. Parfitt was talking to Mr. Buson, saying what's going on with the SR10s, and Mike would always complain that he doesn't like them, and now he can run in an SR8 to his heart's content.
Yeah, it's difficult, and it's to find the balance of these cars. Having worked with Simon and George is really, really difficult. And of course, the biggest problem is track dependence so much. And Simon could lap, I think, in the 10 and the 8 pretty much equally, but I couldn't. I just couldn't match his time in the 8 on a consistent level. But that's probably more down to me. So so again, the track plays a massive part, and of course, if you get caught behind someone, we've had a few races where one car's being held up by another, and it's the dynamic of the track as well that comes into it. So it's really tricky. But it's been a bit up and down, but we've still had some really interesting races. So it's been good fun.
Well, I can tell you from an outsider's point of view, real quick, I can tell you right now, I'm enjoying the heck out of this season. The fact that you can drive either car and get out there and be competitive, certainly there's been tracks where the 8 had an advantage this season. Yep. We know that. So in the end, it'll probably all balance itself out.
Yeah.
Thanks to the hard work of the 3 of you, and I'm sure there's probably some other people involved as well. But I've enjoyed the heck out of this, and I hope that this continues because the dual series, I love it because it's bringing the SR8, the radical communities back together again, which we've kind of seen a division where the 8s went here, the 10s went here, and they weren't really crossing over anymore because it's too big of an adjustment, I think, week in and week out to try to run both. So this is fantastic, and I hope it continues. I just want to say that. But
good.
Back to you, Alex.
Well, Paul, again, stellar job as always, my friend. When you're on it like a car bonnet, my friend. Well done tonight on the double victory in the SR8 class tonight. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, buddy?
Simon, really. He posted a setup on Discord, and it was a really good balance. I did say to him it was really nice, but it's whether I could extract the best from it, and I couldn't quite get there. So he can, I can't. So, but thanks to him for sharing it.
Well, let me guess. Was that the first setup you ran in the first race?
Yeah.
It was. Simon loves them low downforce setups, but I just wanted to say that. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you again, buddy. Congratulations.
Yeah. Bye.
Well done.
Oh, I love Paul LeMay, man. He's great.
He's a fantastic character.
Oh, yeah,
right. Let's bring in our double race winner from Sim Race Norway, Kim Andre Bjorklund.
Yes.
How are you, my friend? It's been a very, very long time, and congratulations on the double victory here in the SR10 class tonight.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't easy though, was it, Kim?
No, I really had to get my head down and drive almost perfectly to catch Bruna in race 2 there.
But I think the way that you'd gotten through on Simon with a very, very clean move, which we were both very impressed by. But then race 2, the way that you were the pace that your car had, and also with that came the fastest lap of the race. I think with 3 laps to go, you got through everyone in front of you, and then all of a sudden we saw the gap being about 2.5 seconds between yourself and Bruno, and you just reeled him in like you just gone fishing on a Sunday afternoon. Like you were catching him so quickly. Was it sort of like, did you have to make a compromise between low downforce and handling to get the best out of the car tonight?
Actually, I made some setup changes yesterday after the practice we had on Tuesday, I think. And it just suddenly clicked after that. I tried a bit more low down first, but I didn't feel really good. So I went up again on the rear wing, and it just was okay.
But still, this does help you in terms of how things are running in terms of the standings at the moment, Kim, because coming into this, you were, 80 points behind Simon. You've closed a little bit of that gap with 2 wins. How are you feeling going into next time out next week when we go to Monza for week 9?
Monza, that's a hard potato.
Well,
that could be really bad carnage. I hope it will go okay.
don't worry, everybody. Kim Andre Bjorklund is not the the bringer of doom reference next week. Believe you me. But yeah, I completely get what you're saying, Kim.
We're not running the historic layout, are we?
No, it's the standard circuit.
I love the historic layout.
if it was the historic one, then yes, expect carnage on the old banking. But Kim, mega job tonight. Well done with the double victory here at Hockenheim. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
All the other guys in the race driving so clean and fighting hard but fair, and you guys for broadcasting this madness, and my teammates who are helping me, pushing me, and yeah.
Okay, Kim, thanks for your time. We'll see you next week for round 9 at Monza.
Thank you.
Man, a few words, but his actions on the track do the talking,
honestly,
don't they, Jim?
He sounded like he was tired, like he was worn out there a little bit. I mean, I think he was really, really, really driving hard to catch Bruno. Because, like I said, I saw him win a race Monday, and he had a lot more energy than that at the end. I really think he was. I think he was giving it his all right there to catch Bruno and pass him. That was impressive.
Right. Okay. Got time for 2 more interviews. Interview. Yes, let's bring in Simon. Mr. Edwards, good evening. How are you?
Hello, I'm being sheepish.
Right, so I am going to talk about that incident. What happened with you and Luke?
It was more what happened at that corner. So I was behind George for 2 laps previous, and I wasn't trying to overtake him, but because we do the corner so differently, I kept nearly overtaking him, and the second time I ended up having to go into first gear on the sausage curb, and Luke got between us. And Luke had been pretty quick behind me through that section, so I just went into it normally, and my normal must be a lot quicker than Luke's, and I just couldn't get the speed off once I realized he'd braked far earlier than I would normally. So it was just a stupid mistake, really. Yeah.
But nevertheless, in terms of points, I think it's still very close between you and Bruno, who picked up second place in race 2. There's still 4 more race evenings to go here, Simon, and we know what you like when it comes to trying to bag those all-important points. It's just about sometimes when you have an incident like that with Luke, you have to exercise damage control, don't you?
I did. It wasn't a situation where I could really wait for Luke, and normally I would do that sort of thing, but it was just going to destroy my race, and I thought, I'm going to have to take advantage here and leave him sat there backwards. So and I knew I could see that I could come on safely as well, because I can turn my head in VR and have a look at the stuff people come in. So I thought, I'm going to have to go and just apologise. Yeah.
Well, fair dues, but still 4 more weeks to go. Monza next time out. I mean, I just had a chat with Kim, and he said his first sentence when I asked him about Monza next week, he said, "Well, it could be mad carnage," and all of a sudden that erupted with me and Jim laughing. And I then said, "Hopefully, Kim Andre Bjorklund is not the bringer of doom when it comes to Monza next week, but it's going to be interesting with the speed differences between the SR10s and the SR8s. I mean, I've enjoyed seeing how equal it is, and I know that there's a lot of work that you're part of the team that tries to equalise the cars to make them as competitive as possible. It's going to be a taller order for Monza next week, isn't it, in terms of equalising them?
Yeah, I mean, I did a race in the 8 yesterday just to test this, and I actually won it. So I was surprised that people weren't actually more competitive in this second race, but I'll speak to them. But for Monza, it's likely that we'll put a tiny bit of weight on the 8 to stop it being so good in the corners, but it won't be much. But we're going to have to kill the power of the 10, so we might be as much as sort of 8%. So everybody's going to think that the car's broken while they're driving it. And that might match them, so that the 8 doesn't, so the 10 just doesn't zoom past them.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
We'll still put a reasonable amount of downforce on the 10s, I think, because the 8 with no downforce on it at all still has more downforce than the 10 with all the downforce. So we'll need the downforce for the chicane, the Ascari.
So just to point out real quick, you can see the level of what it takes to balance these cars out. I mean, we're talking about a car that's for next week's race, and they're already working, you know what I mean? Like they're already starting to look at that setup, and that's the level of work it takes to make this happen. So again, as I do almost every week, thank you for that level of work to make this as enjoyable as it is. Just incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've already requested, can we replace Le Mans, please? Because I don't think I can do it.
Don't ask Mr. Parfitt about Le Mans either. I know what his
loves it.
opinion is.
He loves Le Mans. He tells me that we must do it every season. Every season,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is
add it in there for sure.
But no, Simon, a pleasure to talk to you again. It's been way too long since the last time, but thanks for your time as always. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
I'm going to have to give a shout out to Luke, because he's been struggling with time, and we've had tracks that he hasn't bought, and he doesn't want to buy them, obviously, just for one race. So, and he's come back, and I've wiped him out. So let's hope he has
there we go
a better experience next week.
Indeed, Simon. Thanks for your time, buddy, and good luck at Monza next week, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Gotta love it. You gotta love a guy that says it. Just hey, I wiped you out. I mean, it is what it is.
Whoops. Last but by certainly,
that's people. Half guys he would have said, he braked at the wrong spot. That wasn't my fault. Simon's like, yeah, I ran over him.
Yeah, ran into him, and there we go. One final interview before we close out our live coverage of the Battle of the Radicals for the Radical Race Series. None other than Mr. Positivity himself. Good evening, Mr. Phil Glover. How are you, my friend? It's been a while.
It has, Alex. Are you well?
I'm good. You had a mixed bag of fortunes here tonight. I think, what was it? We saw you running in the top 10, I think it was, in this second race. You're still improving, my friend. You're still keeping going in that wonderful livery of that Castrol 07 Caterham, as always.
It almost looks good. Watch the broadcast back. It's one of the more attractive liveries, in my personal opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
Good evening again.
Hey, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I love your livery. That's it's. I'm glad you don't switch it up. We need that livery in all the races.
Well, when in my olden days, when I used to rally cars around the country, I used to run a Hillman Imp with Castrol colours, and it looked pretty neat. So I thought I'd run it in the virtual world as well.
Well, as they say, Phil, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, you know, it looks very, very wonderful as always. But, you know, we saw that there was...
It's all about the racing, not just the connoisseurs bit in the paddock.
Exactly. But, yeah, just... You know, you had some really, really good battles. I mean, obviously there was some dramas for some of the people at the sharper end of the field. But race 2, I think you got up to as high as P8, I think, at one point, and then things started to go a little bit downhill. It can sometimes be that a track will, you know, work really in your favour in like the shorter sprint race, but then the feature, it's a very, very different strategy you've got to have altogether, because we spoke with Paul LeMay, and by lap 5 he'd cooked his rear tyres.
Yeah, I think mine was starting to go off a little bit. Yeah, it was a bit sketchy sometimes at the rear end. Of course, I run Simon's setups anyway, so they take a little bit more finesse to keep them on the track. But yeah. I mean, I can't really complain. I'm doing, you know, I've had a good life, and I'm enjoying I'm enjoying my sim racing. So, you know, I never like to complain too much about my evenings racing. And what a fantastic thing to see. What was there, 17 cars on the grid?
Yep, 17 cars.
Yeah, it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
Phil, it's been a pleasure to talk to you as always, my friend, and keep that positive mental attitude as always. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go, my friend?
Well, everybody that turned up on the grid, and I'd like to just tell you where we are next week, Jim.
Yeah,
Is it Monza?
It is Monza. I was gonna ask it. He kind of went to who you want to shout out, so I was gonna let it go. Yes, it is Monza next week, and are you ready for that? You ready to blaze around Monza?
Have we got any chicanes, or is it a straight?
I don't know. See, I should know that too, huh?
It's no chicanes then, unless quite a lot of modifications done to the balance of power. Then it'll be an SR8 track, won't it?
Yeah, well, we did have a quick chat. We did have a little bit of an insight from our good learned friend, Mr. Simon Edwards, and he said, yeah, mentioned the word Ascari, so that sounds to me it's probably going to be the current variation of the circuit. So you'll have Rettifilio, Della Roggia, the two Lesmos, and Ascari to deal with, my friend.
Good. Well, I keep my eyes closed anyway, so it's all
Brilliant stuff. Phil, it's a pleasure as always, buddy. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next week for Monza.
See you, Phil. If you don't like Phil Glover, something is wrong with you.
Yeah, you've got a rock for a heart, as John Heindel would say, if your heart doesn't beat when you go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But, Jim, what a great battle of the Radicals round 8 we've had here at the Hockenheim tonight. Yeah,
no, it's fantastic, man. And like I said, we got 17 cars on the grid. Go out there and get you a Radical and come be a part of this. It is just too fun. These cars are phenomenally fun to drive, and a fantastic group of guys. I mean, literally every one of them that you talk to is just a good guy, and they're sharing setups and they're helping each other, coaching them how to drive. I mean, you know, it's just what a community. Get involved.
Indeed. Well, that wraps up our coverage for the Radical Race Series Battle of the Radicals Round 8 here at the Hockenheimring. You've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and Jim Cunningham. This has been a JP Broadcasting Network production. Thank you so much to everyone that has tuned in. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can also follow us on social media. So from Germany, we head to the National Park, the King's Park of Monza, to the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. Same place, same time for next week. Until next time, race hard, race fair. And if in doubt, well, like next week, you're going to have to go flat out. Good night for now. Thanks for watching.